It's amazing. I mean, why did it take Hungary? I had to go all the way to Hungary to come back to Alabama. So I grew up in Forest Hills in Queens, nowhere near horses. Just always loved animals in general, and I think it was a summer camp one year. I started riding when I was maybe 5 or 6, and that was it. I was in love with it, and I made my parents take me wherever I needed to go to get riding lessons, which ended up being out on Long Island. The racetrack came in between high school and when I was supposed to go away to college. It was supposed to be a summer job that my father thought he was very clever getting me through my godfather's brother who owned a piece of a horse at Belmont Park. And I didn't even want the job, actually. I didn't really like the racetrack. I kind of snubbed my nose at it. But the minute I got there, I fell in love with it. And I worked for a man, Alan Jerkins, who is one of the greatest trainers I think that ever lived. And he took me under his wing, and that was the end of that. I never wanted to leave the racetrack at that time. Well, I was very young when I started on the racetrack. I started at 16, just turning 17, and I got involved with a lot of things I probably shouldn't have at that time. It got to a scary point, and there was a jockey at the time, Walter Guerra, who was a Christian, and he would witness to me a lot, and he would talk to me, and I would always tell him, well, it's really great for you, I'm glad it helped you, but it's not for me, and I'm fine, and then that's what I said until I wasn't fine. I remember praying one night that if I made it through the night, I was calling Walter Guerra, and I was going to do whatever I had to do to get saved, but I was scared. So I did that. I made it through the night, obviously, and I called him, and that started a big change in my life. But I stayed on the racetrack for a while, and then I wasn't comfortable with it anymore. I was a little scared that I was going to start getting involved with the wrong things again. I didn't, but I was afraid I would, so I thought I needed to do something else off the racetrack where temptations weren't in my face all the time. While I was in the language school, I got involved with the Baptist seminary there. They were building an extension, and there were groups that would come over from the United States to help build the seminary. And there was one group from Alabama, from Birmingham. They were from Dawson Memorial Baptist Church. And they convinced me that if I wanted to go back to school, I should come back to the States. Samford would be a great place to start. And so I filled out my application from Hungary, and the rest is history. I got in, luckily, and moved to Alabama. I loved Samford, I loved Beeson, I loved classes, I loved arguing in classes and talking and just working it all out and reading and writing, and I just never wanted it to stop. So I thought, I'll just be a professor, then I can just keep doing this. I just got so much support there. I was able to bring Rachel, my daughter, to classes with me. I worked at the school too as a teacher's assistant. I was amazed at how much I felt like I had family and people that were there when I fell down, picked me back up, were supportive of anything I needed. I think that's happened to me in a lot of situations in my life. I feel like everywhere I've ended up, there have been these people around me that were able to pick me up when I started sinking, and Samford was the biggest one. I think it's not just for me. I'm sure it's not just for me. I think everybody would find that sort of support system there because that's just the way the people are. And I don't know, I can't think of a better place. I had to go all the way to Hungary to come back to Alabama. There's not really a good explanation for it, but sometimes I think you can't run away from God. I think that when you try, He lets you go a little bit and then finds ways to pull you back to what you probably should have been doing. I don't know, I'm just thankful for it. I don't need to know why or how.